Yeah. It's Wednesday, so you know what that means. The dog's in the house. The dogs are in the building. He's got Mad Dog Russo. His cronies are watching. Everybody is looking forward to it. But guess what? It's because they believe they can help him. You know what that means? They know he needs help. He's in a world of trouble. I don't know why you came back. But you're here, Mad Dog Russo. So since you're here, do me a favor. Sit up in your chair, fix your tie, and understand you on First Take, baby. I know you got on a suit. It's looking a little dapper, but obviously you're not me, my man. Get ready. There you go. I see you. First Take's in the house. Let's go.
A mindset to send a message, be aggressive at all times. Just be Ja.
Hang time, air time, bucket.
Oh, it's Wednesday, so you know what that means. Christopher Mad Dog Russo, how are you,
Molly,
sir?
it's a pleasure. I got you here today, so it's 2-on-1 against him down there in Memphis.
Always. But you don't need the help. Good to see you, sir. And Stephen A., how we doing out there in Memphis? Causing trouble, or are you staying low-key?
I'm glad. Well, first of all, I am staying low-key. There is no doubt about it. That's number one. Number two, I like the outfit, Molly. I approve. Number three, Mad Dog, fix your tie. Get it together. And number four, Mad Dog is absolutely right. It is 2 against 1 because Molly's always trying to tag team with somebody to take me down. But it's all right. I'm ready. Let's go.
You're just such an easy target and so easily flustered, so, it's kind of fun. All right, we know why you're out there, right? The Grizz hosting the Nets tonight, but the Grizzlies will be without their best player. Ja Morant out with a knee injury, but here's the silver lining. The Grizzlies have done much better than just pick up the slack without Ja this season. They are 14-2 when he doesn't play and have a points per game differential that would lead the NBA. Stephen A., how far can a healthy Ja take the Grizz?
I would tell you that there's a possibility he could take them to the conference finals. Now, I'm not of the mindset that they're going to be the healthy Warriors team, but I'm in Memphis, and we're in Memphis for a reason because we're giving the Grizzlies props where it's due. They called for us to be out here. They talked about they wanted all the smoke. They said we climbing up the chimney. We want all the smoke, and they have performed like that. Ja Morant is a superstar in the making. He's averaging 27 a game. If he ends up being out tonight, I would be incredibly disappointed because I know he's ruled out for this game, but I'm not ruling him out. I'm ruling in the possibility that Ja Morant is going to change his mind. That despite that knee soreness, he's going to see KD, he's going to see Kyrie, and he's going to say, yo, I need to be a part of this smoke because that's the kind of character these brothers have. If he misses this game, we know he's legitimately injured. Make no mistake about it. Ja Morant is a baller. He wants to play all the time. He ain't looking to take days off. Had a back soreness the other day when he missed the game against Indiana. Anticipated to miss tonight, but this team wins games without him, not just at home, but on the road with Bane, with Dylan Brooks back, with Jaren Jackson, with Steven Adams, with this kid Anthony coming off the bench as a guard. The list goes on and on. They're exciting, they're athletic, and they're young, they're hungry, they're not scared of a damn soul. And that is why NBA Countdown is in the house tonight for this game. They summoned us, they said we are for real, and oh, by the way, here's the greatest part about Ja Morant being that kind of star. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to travel around town in Memphis and stop seeing these damn billboards of Elvis. Elvis is dead. He's not coming back, people.
Whoa,
they don't.
I'm
telling you, there's billboards.
Take it down
in
a notch.
Memphis.
He's a legend. His music and spirit live on forever. Come on.
Oh my God.
Whoa. I know all of this about Elvis, but they got billboards around town like he's better go throw a concert or something. No. Stop it. Okay, Ja Morant is here, and the bottom line is those are what the billboards need to be. That's why we here. Memphis got a chance, doggy. Memphis has a chance.
Well, first off, Stephen A. wasn't around in '56 when Elvis was on with Ed Sullivan and began rock and roll, baby. He wasn't around then. So don't sit there and Morant's he's a heck of a player, but that's typical Stevie. He puts him on this level where he isn't there yet. And then they won a couple of playoff games last year. They beat the Warriors, who were depleted. They got annihilated by Utah, and now Steve's got him in the NBA final. Take it easy. And remember, it's a young team. Young teams for the first time want to win a lot of regular season games. That's what they're into. You know what? We haven't been in a 2-seed spot before. So they play every game like it's game 7 of the NBA final. And this, when he gets into the postseason, first off, he's going to have a tough first round because he's going to maybe even play LeBron in round 1. And then number 2, as you said, he's going to have to deal with Golden State. And I would think a healthy Golden State, despite what Green said last night, we'll get to that, despite a healthy Golden State, I'm not sure if the Memphis is going to beat the Warriors in a second-round playoff series. And to sit there and say, well, he won a round in the opening round of the postseason, so now we're going to put him up there with the icons of the sport. Let's take it easy. And to sit there and you should know better, in Memphis, the home of Elvis, and now we got to put billboards up of Morant, who has won 2 playoff games in his life. Listen, I like him too. I hate to even knock him. I'm a fan. I understand. But he doesn't shoot threes well. He's not a great three-point shooter. And this Memphis team has basically done nothing, and you got him up there with Gracie Mansion. That's a little rough, Steve. I love you. That's a little, even you would agree. That's a little rough.
Oh, please. First of all, you lost the argument when you started off with Elvis in 1956, talking about the rock and roll. I mean, you got give me a break. Give me a break. Just stop. Elvis, listen, obviously he was an iconic figure. His music will live forever. But Elvis is dead. He is dead, people. I mean, I don't know if people in Memphis know this. I mean, somebody's got to tell them. Somebody's got to tell them, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, the Memphis Grizzlies are here and now. I'm not trying to act like they're going to the finals. I'm not sure I believe that. I think they're a bit too young. But these brothers are young. They are athletic. They've got length. They go after it. They can hit perimeter shots. They block shots. They pass the ball. They are unselfish. They don't turn the ball over much. There's a lot of components that come to their game that justify the level of hype that they're particularly receiving at this moment in time. They are 49-23. They are the number 2 seed in the entire Western Conference, which we have acknowledged is loaded. They win games on the road, but they're going to have home court advantage for the most part. All I'm saying is that this is a team to be reckoned with, and although I'm a believer in the Suns, led by Devin Booker, in the Golden State Warriors, especially when Steph comes back, the bottom line is the second best looking team in all of the NBA this year are the Memphis Grizzlies. That is not, they have looked better than everybody but the Phoenix Suns. Hold it. Who's looked better than the Memphis Grizzlies other than the Phoenix Suns?
Well, it's regular season basketball, Steven. Come on.
Well, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, hold on now. Let's ask you this. Here's what you and I are going to discuss if I'm still sitting here in a month or 2.
You are.
Here's what we're going to discuss.
Go ahead.
Here's what we're going to discuss. You know what their barometer is going to be? Let them beat Golden State in the second round. They're supposed to win a first-round series, and they're going to be a higher seed, and they're going to have home court, which you now are so, the grindhouse is the place that you can't win, which is absurd. You think Curry and Thompson can't win there?
Don't do that.
Let me see them beat the Warriors in a 7-game series, and then you can sit there and tell me that we can talk about billboards for John Morant. How's that?
Well, first of all, I didn't say nationwide billboards, but there is no doubt that in the city of Memphis, Tennessee, in 2022, John Morant deserves more billboards than Elvis Presley. No, yes, that is not far-fetched to say. That's number 1, okay? That's number 1, all right? Number 2, and more importantly, if you're John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, all right, what if you go to a 7th game in the Western Conference semifinals against the Warriors? That's not slouchy. They could end up losing, but still garner your respect. I'm not picking them to win the chip, but I'm saying respect them. They could go to the conference finals.
All right, so now it's style over substance. Be competitive against Golden State and we have
Style
putting
over
Morant on this high
substance.
level. That's where we're at right now. So now we're going to say, as long as they're competitive with home court and a higher seed, and as long as they're in every game and win a couple, and even if they lose a game 7 at home,
You just said they're young.
Stevie's
Hold on, wait a
okay
minute.
with that.
Wait,
So put it on the table. Stevie's okay with that.
Yes. Because guess what? They're young and they're coming. I'm talking about they're climbing. You got to crawl before you walk. The baby doesn't come out of the womb sprinting and running. You got to crawl and then you walk
Style
and then you run.
points.
And they crawled last
Style
year.
points
They're
in the
going to
NBA.
walk this year. And then next year and beyond, they're going to sprint. I'm
let's go
saying the
back.
Memphis Grizzlies are a team to be reckoned with. Period.
So let's go back
That's
to
all
the
I'm saying.
billboard. You started it. Let's go back to the billboard. I'm walking around Memphis. I see no John Morant billboards. Let's start it. So we're going to go out there and put billboards. Erase them. Get the guy to erase. You know the guy who erases the billboards? We're going to erase all the Presley billboards, Elvis Presley billboards, because Morant lost his 6
I'd have
games
been
of
erased
Golden
them.
State in the second round of the playoffs. That
Excuse
doesn't work that way. You know better than that. You got to win some championships.
But
Play
first
the
of all,
final
you're
before
living
you
in the
put
past.
billboards
You're
up.
living in the past. You need to stop. You need to say you're living in the past. Listen, think about
Molly, help me here.
Hold on. This is what's so comical. Tell me, this is what's so comical about this. You're not even defending somebody against the John Morant that's playing. You're defending Elvis. You're literally
don't be
acting like
cruel,
Elvis
Stephen A.
Presley
You're a devil in
deserves
disguise.
to be more
I can keep doing
recognized
more.
than John Morant.
Listen,
All I'm trying to say to you is this.
Stephen A., what's your favorite Elvis song? Because I'm sure there's a museum you could visit while you're out there.
Down to the jailhouse rock.
There you go.
There we go.
Here's what I want you to do. When this show,
That's my song.
when this show is mercifully over tonight at noon Eastern time, well, are you done? When this show's mercifully over at noontime, go back to your suite and get on YouTube and go watch Elvis with Ed Sullivan in '56. Who was an incredible influencer. And then tell me we take the billboards down. Gee whiz. You're better
This
than that.
man in the year 2022 is defending Elvis Presley. There's nothing
Elvis
here
Presley.
really
Oh my
sports-wise
He's not getting
but
off
John Morant.
Stephen A., you should be wearing your blue suede shoes tonight. Get it together. Have a little respect.
Don't do something else. Go to the Gracie Mansion and learn something.
Whoa. I actually do have on blue suede shoes.
Oh, you
right?
do?
Oh.
I actually do. That's
Let me see
number
'em.
one.
Let's see.
Okay, that's
Maybe you
number
need to
one.
do some yoga
Number
so
two,
you can show us your foot.
Hey, yes,
That's right. I got him.
I can't see him.
I got him. Well, damn it,
Oh, I
I
love
can't
you.
twist my foot that way. I ain't that
You're
flexible.
funny.
Goodness.
Okay? But I got on blue suede shoes. That's
Try hot
number one.
yoga.
Number
Loosen up
two,
a little.
last time I checked, there's no Major League Baseball team here. Okay? Football-wise, you got to go 3 hours down to Nashville, okay? So basketball is it. And here you got Ja Morant, who, by the way, regardless of the knee soreness, the back soreness, I'm telling you, if the brother is walking and feeling fine, he will make them change his mind and play tonight because he got that kind of heart about him. I know he's ruled out for tonight's game, which is obviously a bad thing for me because I came here for him. But I firmly believe I'm not ruling out anything. I think Ja Morant might end up changing his mind and changing the Grizzlies' mind and trying to play tonight because he that type of dude. That's who they got in this town. This is Ja Morant's town, not Elvis. Appreciate him, but it ain't Elvis town. This is Ja Morant's town. Y'all better get it right.
I don't even know what to say. It's not Elvis's town.
Elvis.
I don't even know. I don't even
Petty
know.
Hardaway's
Billboards for
town before
Elvis. I'm
Ja
driving
Morant's
down the
town.
highway, and then Elvis
Let's
Presley.
move on
Let
from
it
this.
go.
Blue suede shoes.
Let it go.
Time for some quick takes. Hey, Stephen A., on a happy note, did you
please.
see Trae Young last night? Destroyed your Knicks. He just dropped a cool 45. Take a listen.
Fun atmosphere to play in. But any night you're able to play basketball is fun, so I try to enjoy it.
Were the boos as loud as you expected them to be tonight?
Nah, I couldn't really hear them for real. It wasn't even that loud, to be honest with you.
Stephen A., talk to me.
Trae Young's the star. And what I love about him is that he answers the call. He reminds everybody what the NBA is and should be about. You know what? They ain't skipping games. He's showing up. and he's balling. He's averaging 28 at Madison Square Garden. This brother is something special, and even though I don't like it against my Knicks, I love the fact that they chide him and they mess with him, and then he answers the call. I wish the Knicks had somebody like that. That's my response.
And I agree. Listen, he's a great. I like to have him act like he's been there before and maybe not make so much noise and agitate the Knicks fan base. I'm not sure if you have to do that. But as far as his greatness is concerned, we are on the same page. He's a great point guard.
All right. I got another one for you here, Stephen A. Mary Kate Cabot reporting that the Steelers, your Steelers, could become interested in Baker Mayfield if he becomes a free agent. Do you like this?
No, not interested at all. He's a Brown. He doesn't need to be contaminating the Steeler nation and the Steeler franchise and the Steeler tradition. He's good, but he's not great. And as far as I'm concerned, there's not that big of a difference between him and Mitchell Trubisky. I would have much rather preferred to have had Deshaun Watson, Joe Burrow, or Lamar Jackson wearing a Steelers uniform. But if we're going to go the route of bringing somebody in, they damn sure don't need to be an average to good player from the Cleveland Browns. No, thank you. Go, let him go someplace else, like Seattle or something.
You think Baker and Trubisky are comparable?
I mean, Mayfield's a little better, but for a change, he hit 2 in a row. Yeah, he's right on this. No question about it. I wouldn't want Mayfield on my team either. He's an okay quarterback. That's as far as we're going to go. He's not going to lead the Steelers to a championship. I also wouldn't want to have a Cleveland Brown on my team either if I was a Pittsburgh Steeler. I mean, I can't find a team, Carolina, Seattle, but why would it have to be Pittsburgh? Stevie A, 2 for 2. Give him that. He's right. Why would you want Baker Mayfield? Trubisky's not any good, but he's not really. Mayfield's a little better, but it's not worth your aggravation.
Well,
he's right about that.
All right. Well, keep in mind, Baker
let me
Mayfield
say this
did
about
have a
Mitchell
shoulder
Trubisky
injury
real
last
quick.
season, so let me just put that out there.
Yeah, he did. Well, I'll put that out there, but also Mitchell Trubisky was coached by Matt Nagy during his first struggling years. The reality of the situation is Mike Tomlin is a different animal, and the Steelers' offense will be a different animal. And I think as a result, Mitchell Trubisky, who has wheels and can move and is mobile, unlike Big Ben Roethlisberger at age 39 in his swan song, Mitchell Trubisky could make some good things happen. I don't think he's that great, but I think that we're going to see better from him than we saw in Chicago.
All right. How about Derek Carr? Devontae Adams is down. Listen to this. Fulfilling a childhood dream, playing for his Raiders and reuniting with his former college quarterback at Fresno, Derek Carr. Take a listen to what he said at his introductory press conference.
Me playing in Green Bay, great situation. Having, greatest quarterback to play the game, that's a dream in itself. So I'll never take anything away from, anything Green Bay gave me or, Aaron gave me. It was an amazing opportunity to work over there and do what I did for almost a decade. But, things change sometimes. It's not the first time that a impactful player to an organization had to leave. I feel like it worked out for both sides ultimately.
A win-win for everybody. What do you think? Was it a mistake, Russo, for Devontae to leave the Packers?
Absolutely. If you're Devontae Adams, you leave Aaron Rodgers. Ask Mike Holmgren when he left Favre to go to Seattle how that worked out. Why would you leave this quarterback? This quarterback is so much better than Derek Carr. I mean, Carr's okay, but did anybody see Derek Carr against Cincinnati in the postseason where he spiked the ball and cost himself a down on the last series of the game when they were trying to tie it? One of the dumbest plays I've ever seen a quarterback make. And then on 4th down, didn't even throw the ball in the end zone on the incomplete pass, which the Raiders trying to tie the game. When you have that kind of quarterback at your disposal, and he would have him for the next 3 years, and you're also playing in that great city for football compared to Las Vegas, which doesn't compare, you don't leave him. Assuming the money was comparable, you don't leave him. You don't go, why? Because you played at Fresno State for a couple of years with Derek Carr? I am shocked. I would never. If that's me and I have that quarterback throwing me the football, one of the all-time greats, we all know that. He's not an immortal, but one of the all-time greats. I'm not leaving to go play with Derek Carr, who is not going to the Hall of Fame, who is probably the 4th best quarterback in that division. I'm not making that decision under any circumstances. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked when he went to Vegas. Shocked. Steven?
Stevie?
Well, listen, I hear where you're coming from. I hear where you're coming from because Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. We all know that. The bottom line is there's stuff that went on that Davante Adams ain't speaking about, because I don't think you walk away from Aaron Rodgers either, because I think that Aaron Rodgers is the greatest talent that I've ever seen at the quarterback position. That's my position, the greatest talent, even though he doesn't have the resume of a Tom Brady. Having said all of that, I think that you're throwing shade on the Las Vegas Raiders a bit unnecessarily, doggy. The reality of the situation is that Derek Carr is a damn good quarterback. He may not be Aaron Rodgers. He may not be great, but he's pretty damn good. He threw for 4,800 plus yards last year, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions is nothing to brag about, for 4,800 yards last year. The brother got Darren Waller there, so you got Waller there already. And on top of it all, now you got Davante Adams, which is the number one receiver. And I think that they picked up another receiver as well yesterday. I look at the Oakland Raiders with Jacobs out of the backfield, with a relatively decent offensive line, with Josh McDaniels as your new head coach, with the weapons that he has. And I think that you're going to see an even better version of Derek Carr, who was already pretty damn good. So what I would say to you is that I get where you're coming from if you're just comparing Derek Carr to Aaron Rodgers, but that's not what we're looking at here. I'm comparing the Las Vegas Raiders to the Green Bay Packers. And when you look at how often Aaron Rodgers targeted Davante Adams might have looked around. You don't know what situation is involving Aaron Rodgers. 1 minute you stay in, 1 minute you go in, and then all of a sudden you sign for $150 million guaranteed after all of the song and dance about being disrespected by the organization. You got Lazard, Valdez, Scantling there as well. Of course, you got running backs out of the backfield and Dillon and Aaron Jones. But in the end, you had about 3 shots at the apple. You've lost the NFC Championship game the last 2 years. Okay, I want to try something new. It's with a quarterback that I'm incredibly familiar with, who can make all the necessary throws, who's never had a weapon like me to throw the ball to. I got a big-time tight end, one of the top 2 or 3 tight ends in all of football, in Waller as well. And I got a new coach in Josh McDaniels, who's got Super Bowl championship pedigrees in this background. I'm sorry. I don't think it's a bad move by Davante Adams at all, and I don't think you're looking at the big picture, to be quite honest with you.
Well, again, you saw it. I saw it. Those 2 drives that Carr led in Cincinnati. That's not the 85 Bear defense. In Cincinnati, 2 drives in the fourth quarter, Carr put up 3 points. And in the last drive, this is a guy, after they got a first down at the 5-yard line with time running out and no timeouts, he downed the boy, spiked it, and cost himself a down. That was Rodgers wouldn't have done that. Rodgers would have done some other things, but he wouldn't have done that. And then he threw it on 4th down.
What do you mean he would have done some other things?
He didn't go in the end zone. So even if he completed the pass, which he did, he was intercepted, they still would have lost. He's not as good. Why, Stephen? When you have Rodgers there, who is a top 10 quarterback probably in history. Carr's not going to the Hall of Fame. Why would? And he's a receiver. You know these receivers, they're divas. They want the ball thrown to them constantly. They want a lot of yards, and they want all the touchdowns. Why would you leave Rodgers to go play for a quarterback who's not half as good? Why would you do that?
Well, let me count the ways. Are you going to let me answer? Are you going to let me answer? I'm going to answer the question for you. You asked it. You asked the question, right? Yep. Well, here's the answer. Number one, there's Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and there's Las Vegas. That's number one, okay? Number two, you threw the ball to me all the time. Over the last 3 of the last 4 years, I had a minimum of 111 receptions and a minimum of 1,300 yards 3 of the last 4 years. That didn't bring me a Super Bowl. Number three, you talked about what Aaron Rodgers done. Let's talk about what he hasn't done. Those first 3 downs before Matt LaFleur takes the ball out of his hands on a 4th down, where Brady only needed a couple of first downs in order to win the NFC Championship game. But the first 3 downs, Aaron Rodgers didn't get it done, including scampering for a first down at the very least, or even a touchdown because he had a wide open field to run. He missed that. Then this past year, you're going up against Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G to some, porn star Jimmy to me, and what happens? You go against him, and you can't score more than 10 points on your own damn field at Lambeau Field in inclement weather when you had a bye week, so you were well rested, and San Francisco had to go up against them sorry Dallas Cowboys the week before. And so all of that stuff comes into play. Now I got to also compare, all right, the tight end spot, somebody to catch the ball between the numbers, okay? That's Waller. You didn't have that in Green Bay. Yeah, Tunyon, I understand he got hurt and he's pretty good, but he ain't Waller. I know Matt LaFleur has won 13 games each of his first 3 seasons in Green Bay. He ain't no Josh McDaniels. We all know that. Okay? Because Josh McDaniels, as an offensive coordinator, not a head coach, because I know he didn't get the job done in Denver, but as an offensive coordinator, the man did a hell of a job, not to mention the fact he learned from the very best. And so this is his second bite at the apple. If I'm Davante Adams, I got a whole bunch of stuff to look at and say, hey, this is a better situation than what I had in Green Bay.
Surprising coming from the guy who coined the phrase bad man. But I want to focus on Aaron Rodgers. So Davante Adams.
He's a bad man.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised you're thinking it's a good decision to live the way this argument went. All right, Davante Adams led the NFL in receptions, receiving TDs, and receiving yards last season. So tell me this, Mad Dog. What does this mean for Aaron Rodgers now not having Davante Adams?
Well, here's the thing. If Rodgers is this great, he should be able to figure out a way to get these other receivers involved and still be a very effective quarterback. Let's not forget last year's Thursday night game in Arizona when Adams couldn't play and they beat the Cardinals. And he used the rest of his arsenal, and they won a game. That's when Murray threw the interception at the end when he was trying to throw the ball to A.J. Green. So if Rodgers is this great, and Stevie and I are on the same page on Rodgers, you know, he's got to get to this next level.
Yeah.
They have draft picks. They got other receivers. Everybody saw the highlight when Lazard was wide open on 3rd and 11 in the cold in Green Bay against San Francisco, and he forced the ball to Adams, the incomplete pass, and then the Niners came down and kicked the field goal. If he threw the ball to Lazard, the Packers would have won the game. And Lazard was wide open at midfield. So this gives Rodgers a chance to spread the ball around a little bit, have a little more confidence in the younger receivers, don't have that bad body language, which sometimes he does. He gets frustrated and he walks off the field with his shoulders sagged and all.
Yeah.
Let's go out there now and let's get everybody else incorporated with your team. Let's show some confidence with them. Let's go back to them and throw the ball to them and have a couple of drop passes. They have the Raider top pick, so they have the 22nd pick. I think it's the 22nd pick. They can maybe draft a receiver. If Rodgers is worth $50 million, he'll make do with what. Hey, listen, Brady got the Super Bowls with lousy receivers for a long time. If Rodgers is this good in an awful division, in a bad conference, he'll figure something out with the other receivers he has to work with.
Stephen A., what do you think?
Well, I think his legacy is on the line because some of the changes that have been made are because of him. The reality of the situation is that the National Football League has a hard salary cap. Now, it's not the players' fault. The owners, being the cheap misers that they are, have a hard salary cap, and they leave it to the players to fight amongst themselves as to the pot that is available to them. But nevertheless, knowing that those rules were in place, Aaron Rodgers did what almost anybody would do. He took as much as the bag as he could possibly get. But with that comes a responsibility to get the job done. Now, it's not just on his shoulders. I'm sick and tired of Matt LaFleur being raved about, for crying out loud. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't your quarterback, what would you do? What would you be? Because we've seen 2 years ago him take the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands and on 4th down, showing no guts whatsoever and being a prisoner and a hostage to the analytics, which made no sense at that particular moment because if you're using the eyeball test, you leave the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands. He's your franchise player. He's the face of your franchise. You say to him, okay, this is what we pay you for. Get the damn job done, period. And Matt LaFleur took the ball out of his hands and prevented him from doing that. And then this year, the special teams didn't just show up. Didn't just fail to show up against San Francisco. They were horrid all year. How the hell do you have 17 weeks? This is your job. Matt LaFleur doesn't have to run for any first downs or touchdowns. He doesn't have to catch any touchdown passes. He doesn't have to block for anybody. He doesn't have to sack anybody. He doesn't have to intercept the football. Your job is to damn coach. And somehow, some way, Matt LaFleur allowed the entire season to go on where he never, ever fixed the special teams. Week to week to week, they were consistently considered one of, if not the worst special teams in football. Matt LaFleur did nothing about it, and as an end result, it came back to bite them. And somehow, some way, we turn around. This coordinator is gone. This coach is gone. This coach is gone. But Matt LaFleur still stays, okay? This man, as far as I'm concerned, is living off the greatness of Aaron Rodgers, which is why he did everything but get on his knees and pray to the skies in front of the masses that Aaron Rodgers stay in in Green Bay. That is what happened with Matt LaFleur. Then you go and under your watch, you draft Jordan Love instead instead of drafting some additional weapons to help buffer the team. Might go down as one of the worst picks ever because you just signed Aaron Rodgers. So not only has Jordan Love been sitting on the bench for 3 years, he's going to be sitting on the bench at least another 3 years. Well, go figure that out. So all of this stuff, it's not just about Aaron Rodgers. It's about Coach LaFleur too. But in the end, it's about Aaron Rodgers. You're the one that got the bag. You took the money. You got to show up and find a way to get it done. Or we're going to remember that you did it.
Steve's right, 100%. Can you imagine Belichick with his little milk and cookies on Nantucket watching that game with the Packers with their special teams, blocked field goals, blocked punts, kickoffs back to the 50-yard line?
His dog.
His dog will be there. The dog, you know, he's funny with the dog. Or Lombardi from upstairs.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him watching that game and said, hold on now. We lost a playoff game in our building in bad weather against a warm weather team because of special teams? What? Belichick must have laughed all the way to the next morning to get his Boston Globe, for crying out loud. And he is 100% right at Memphis. LaFleur's performance last year in the postseason was awful.
Yeah.
He's right.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Awful. Horrible. One last point.
Yeah.
It was so awful, Elvis could have defended.
Oh, my God.
Wait, I have a question. Is Elvis an immortal?
Oh, is he an immortal?
Elvis an immortal. I just want to know by your definition.
Thank you. Yes,
he is. Is Stevie an immortal yet, or he's still working on it?
Well, on Wednesdays, since he's
I'm not trying to be an
on the
immortal.
show, he is an all-time great.
Oh, okay. You're an all-time great.
Now, that doesn't mean I always agree with him, but he's an all-time great.
Yeah.
Somehow they're
so
paying him a fortune
he has
to do
levels
this.
to still go to be an immortal status.
He got to do more than 8-9 years.
Yeah.
Let me see him in 3 decades, right,
Okay. Okay. Stevie, things to aspire for. Still ahead on First Take, new comments from New York. He hates me. From New York City's mayor on when mandates could start soft.
In the right way, we're going to follow the science. We're going to make the right decision.
All right, gentlemen, that was New York Mayor Eric Adams addressing the city's mandate that affects both Kyrie Irving in the Nets playoff run and whether he can participate in home games, along with Yankees superstar Aaron Judge, who has yet to say whether he's vaccinated. Russo, what do you think will happen with the mandate between now and opening day?
Well, let's say a couple things. It's not just Aaron Judge. You know, Anthony Rizzo doesn't, I don't think he's gotten the vaccination shots either. Who knows? It's a little cloudy. These players don't want to answer those questions. And those are 2 big players in the Yankees. They open up 2 weeks from tomorrow against the Red Sox. All right, I'm not knocking the Nets, but the Nets are not the Yankees, okay? The Yankees are one of the great franchises in all of sport. They're the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they are worth billions and billions of dollars. They've been here since 1920.
What?
Oh, they are. These are the Yankees. I mean,
Don't you ever come on this show and mention the Dallas Cowboys in the same breath as the New York Yankees.
Well, Stephen A.
We're talking about worth,
We're talking about worth.
I
think you're right. I think it goes Yankees. I got to Google it, but Yankees, Dallas Cowboys, like one of the top two.
How much they're worth and what they mean. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about championship.
We're not talking about brand.
I'm not talking about freaking
talking about money.
I'm not talking about Prescott. I'm talking about Ruth Garrick and DiMaggio. That's what I'm talking about. Come on. 1960 and 1920. You're talking about the Bambino. These are the New York Yankees, 161st Street and River Avenue. This is Yankee Stadium.
That's right.
And it is where the ghosts are.
That's right, baby.
This is the home office of baseball, my buddy John Sterling used to say. These are the Yankees.
Wait, time out.
Yankees.
Weren't you just in a different background?
That's right.
Yeah, now we're looking about where's the lights?
Where'd you go? Vegas?
I wasn't satisfied with the background, so I had them change it.
Oh, so they upgraded it. You look glorious. It's a beautiful sunny day. You're shining now. I'm happy they did upgrade it.
Go take pictures of Presley's billboards, for crying out loud. My God, the
listen, this guy, he just snaps.
I'm gonna start a movement.
And he gets the background he wants.
That's right. That's what I wanted. And I'm gonna make them change these billboards from Elvis to Ja. You watch me do it. It's gonna happen. But go ahead, finish making your point.
Well, the bottom line is the Yankees have power. The Yankees have juice. Randy Levine is a pit bull. He's going to be on Eric Adams' case day in and day out. These aren't the Nets. I'm not knocking the Nets, but these are the New York Yankees. So if you're asking me right now, will Judge and everybody else who's unvaccinated, I'm going to include Rizzo until they hear otherwise. If you're telling me 2 weeks from tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when they're playing the Boston Red Sox, when there's 55,000 at Yankee Stadium, outside in the daytime, and opening day's a big deal, I would be pretty surprised if those two aren't in the lineup. I know they've put themselves in a corner. Obviously, they have, they fired the firemen and policemen and teachers who have not been vaccinated. So why is the big athlete get a break? Still, these are the Yankees who bring New York City a fortune. They represent New York City. And, Steinbrenner, Levine, the Yankees seem to think that they're play. So I do think that you'll see those two guys.
You're not buying the mayor. Okay.
No, I'm not. But here's one thing I will buy. The Yankees are going to be in a pennant race with the Blue Jays in the American League East and the Red Sox and, Tampa.
Yeah.
Preach.
And they're not going to play in Toronto.
Yeah.
So if Judge and Rizzo, they're not going to go across the border. You're not going to beat a country. It's one thing to beat a city, not beat a country. So I don't think they will play up in Toronto. But I don't know how Stevie thinks. He's a Yankee fan. I understand that. But I think 15 days from now, if you go to Yankee Stadium and you buy a $7 beer and your $15 hot dog, I think that Judge will be in the outfield and Rizzo will be at first base. How's that?
Well, here's my response. They better be. They better be because, listen, I like Mayor Adams. Thank God de Blasio is gone because I did not like him. I love the fact that Mayor Adams is the new mayor of New York City. But having said all of that, let me be very, very clear. Mayor Adams, you're looking foolish. Somebody's got to tell you, so I'm going to tell you. You're looking foolish because here's the reality of the situation. Let's just take it from on top of the fact that you have a bogus, idiotic rule that allows for visitors to come and actually play in the Barclays Center when a Kyrie Irving cannot play at the Barclays Center. And you have visiting baseball players from baseball teams that can come into Yankee Stadium and play, but Aaron Judge and Rizzo and them wouldn't be able to play. It's nonsensical, particularly when you consider the fact that fans can come in even though they're not vaccinated. Kyrie Irving can come in the building and get a seat to the game, not even wearing a mask, and that's not in violation of anything, but somehow, some way, he can't play at the Barclays Center. Mayor Adams, sometimes you're just trying to be hardcore, and you're just trying to show that you're not going to wilt or bend to public pressure. It doesn't make you smarter, though, sir. I'm telling you that right now. You're a smart man. I'm happy that you're the mayor, but you look utterly foolish with this stance. And then when you take into account that it's baseball that we're talking about here, just look at this, guys. They talk about even in the worst of times, they talked about wearing a mask, engaging in social distancing, trying to be outdoors, and keeping yourself 6 feet apart. Doggy knows this. Every position on a baseball field is more than 6 feet apart. From the catcher to the pitcher to the first baseman to second base to shortstop to third base, left field, right field, center field. Everybody's more than 6 feet apart, and you're outdoors. So that is just absolutely positively asinine. Just because you're the mayor and there's a rule in place, well, guess what? You have the power to change it. Why are you capitulating and acquiescing to a policy you didn't even implement? It ain't your policy. And Mayor Adams, I thought that de Blasio was out. I thought that you were the mayor. Why are you holding on to policies that he implemented? They ain't yours. You the mayor now. You have the power to change. You have the power to make sense. You have the power to show up and act like you have some damn sense. And right now, it just doesn't look good. Having said all of that, he shouldn't change the policy because of a player. He shouldn't change the policy because of a team. He should change the policy because it's stupid. Kate, you got elementary school kids that are no longer operating under the mandate. You've got restaurants and bars and lounges in New York City who are no longer operating under the mandate. I would know. I've been to them. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you have an obligation to make sense as opposed to showing that you hardcore. And I suspect he's trying to be a little bit hard, in part, not totally, but in part, because of KD opening his mouth a few weeks ago when he's talking about he better get it together. He said, no, I don't better get it together. I will move at my own pace, and nobody will dictate that. But these are the kind of things that's happened. And as a result, we're going to see what transpires, but there's no reason on earth for this policy to be in place with Aaron Judge. There's no reason whatsoever. Let me say this one last thing about Kyrie Irving. Because even though I support the mandate being lifted and him playing, I took the liberty of speaking to a couple of Hall of Famers yesterday, along with a modern player, a star that's in the game today. And, I asked them all three the same question because they all felt that I was being a little bit too hard. Come on, man, Kyrie. I said, look, man, I love ball, and I want to see spectacular players playing ball. So I asked him this one question, Doggy and Molly. I said, if he were on your team back in the day, and all of y'all took the vaccine, and he didn't, what would y'all do? Do you know what the player said to me? Hall of Famer. He said, we would have snatched his ass up. We would have put him in a chair, tied him to the damn chair if we had to, and we would have gave him the damn vaccine ourselves. He would have been ticked off. He
100%.
probably wouldn't have spoken to us for the rest of the season. But you know what, Stephen A? He would have been on the court and he would have been playing because there's no way in hell he would have gotten away with that. I asked a modern player who's a superstar in the league, what would you do right now if Kyrie was your teammate? You know what they said? The same damn thing the Hall of Famers said. So people might not be coming out and speaking against Kyrie Irving because he's their contemporary and we're the media, we're the enemy, and all of this other stuff. But everybody knows at the end of the day, as stupid and asinine as this policy is, and as much as it should be lifted, it does not negate the fact that Kyrie Irving comes across selfish as hell about himself, and he's leaving his teammates, and in particular, his superstar teammate, Kevin Durant, hanging. He may cost the Brooklyn Nets the championship. That is the issue when it comes to Kyrie Irving. The rest of the stuff is Mayor Adams needing to get on his game and do the right thing.
Yeah, he's 100% right. The guy's making $40 million a year. He's not playing basketball. Yeah. I mean, and Durant, if Durant really had some guts here, you know what Durant should say? Hey, come on. I'm here because of you. We ain't winning without you. Get the shots. This should have been done months ago.
Yeah, but for the Yankees, I feel like it's even worse, though, because they're outside.
Well, the mandate is a judge. Stephen A., here with you. Here. Martin Luther King, here.
By the way,
100%. Those guys should play.
We're talking about the Yankees, Cowboys. You know that the Mets have a higher payroll than the Yankees now?
Cohen's got $13 billion. He makes as much as he does.
Yankees are third now. It's Dodgers, Mets.
I know.
That don't mean they're going to win.
That's true.
That don't mean they're going to win.
Spoken from a true Yankee fan. All right, we'll keep it going, guys. Still ahead, Kevin Durant had major praise for Ja Morant, already dubbing him a future Hall of Fame. Knee injury. Here's Malika Andrews with him.
Morant in transition. Oh, Ja Morant!
Filthy. Absolutely filthy.
Fun seems to kind of be your game. It seems to be your trash talk. It seems to be, I mean, do you take pride in that?
I feel like, just Memphis. I feel like that's, our identity. Starting, with the grit and grind era, and now to ours. We took on that, that role, that mindset to, be like those guys. And, no matter what we're doing out there on the floor, we're going to play hard and, we're going to, be very aggressive, physical, and, we'll let you hear about it.
There's this photo that was taken over All-Star Weekend. It's of you, Steph, Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen. What was it like to be standing with those guys? What were you thinking?
Definitely, was kind of surreal, to even, just be a part of it and actually, get to witness that. And, their message was it's a lot of room up there for me. So, that gave me confidence and definitely, some motivation to, go be on that stage.
Russo, Memphis is the place to be. Who's who of the NBA today? ESPN going Grizzlies all access. We have NBA Today live from there. Malika Andrews will obviously be there. Big Perk, RJ Cheney, the whole crew. And then NBA Countdown later till tip-off. That's with Michael Eaves, Wilbon, Jalen, and of course...
our pal.
Yeah, and of course, Stephen A. as well. Brooklyn-Memphis going to be a good game, so that'll be a lot of fun down there. So Ja obviously has been on a tear this season, and Stephen A. said a few weeks ago that he could be the next AI. Russo, do you agree with him that Ja could be the next Allen Iverson?
He's better than Allen Iverson. I mean, because he makes a lot of people around him better. I mean, Iverson was a wonderful competitor, and he was he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not a transcendent star. He's not a guy that is going to make a cast of characters around him on this level. Morant can do that. Iverson was a poor shooter, and he was a bad three-point shooter, and he was not great if you look at his shooting percentages in the huge game. Now, listen, he's a Hall of Famer. Nobody's arguing that. He led the league in scoring, the whole 9 yards. Morant has got that special quality that has a tendency to make a lot of those guys on that team who aren't Dylan Brooks, who aren't great players, to rise them to a level. And he's in a better conference than Iverson was in the old Eastern Conference, which was never great when he played there in the late 90s and the early 2000s. If you're asking me right now, who is going to have a better career and who's going to be more transcendent in the NBA, it's not even a contest. Morant is going to be much better than Allen Iverson.
Not even a contest.
I'm not knocking him.
Not even a contest.
Is somebody talking? Oh, a second?
What?
What?
What? You came on this show to spew that blasphemy? Have you? What?
Blasphemy?
What?
He's a Hall
Let me
of
tell you
Famer,
something, Doggy. Doggy, if I was in there, listen. I'm going to get, after this break, I'm warning you right now, I'm going to give you, after this break, I'm going to call South Street Seaport. I'm going to call security to have you removed from this studio. I can't believe what you just said. You're acting like you're going to disrespect Allen Iverson. The answer, the dude. What? Listen. Didn't you start off this show by telling us to pump the brakes? I sat up there and I talked about get the Elvis billboards down, damn it, and put Ja Morant up. You defended Elvis, but you go knock Allen Iverson. Have you lost your ever-loving mind? Allen Iverson, excuse me. What? Time out what?
Allen
What are you
Iverson,
talking about?
He's a 40% shooter in postseason. He's 31% from three.
42.
He played the one final and got annihilated by the Lakers. Let's take it easy.
Time out. Hold on. Allow me to speak. I'm going to calm down because I was shivering with the blasphemy that you were spewing. But let me get this straight.
Was he?
So we can look. No. Stay with me.
All right.
When we were talking about Jerry West is not a part of this conversation. Don't twist it. But when we were talking about Jerry West last week, I brought up the fact that the man had lost 8 finals. He won 1. You said, so what? It's not about the numbers. It's about what I saw with my eyes, Stevie. That's what you said. You brought up Cousy. You brought up Bob Cousy. It's about what I saw with my eyes, Stevie. It's what I saw with my eyes. Even though he had Russell and Havlicek and all of these boys, Sam Jones and them as his teammates. That's what you said, okay? Now, we started off the show, and I sat up there and I said about Ja Morant, because number love and respect for Ja Morant. You sat up there and said, to hell with him. I love Elvis. That's what you said. Now here we go to Allen Iverson. This is a 6-foot guard, 160 pounds, soaking wet. Who did he play with, Doggy? He was a one-man wrecking crew.
He loved it
with
that
10
way.
straight years. Excuse me. Let me finish. He went 10 straight years, averaging more than 26 a game. At least, how many seasons did he average over 30? 1, 2, 3, 4 years. He averaged over 30 a game. Everybody was coming at him. He was a one-man wrecking crew. Yeah, you're going to point at the percentage. How many big moments did he showed up? There was a lot. You can't count them. He was the man was a miniature dynamo in a land of giants going up against giants. Don't give me some statistics. What did your eyes tell you? The answer. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason, Doggy.
Well, we know he's a Hall
and
of
guess
Famer.
what?
You got
I'm not
him
saying.
up there on that level.
Excuse me. No, what I'm saying to you, listen, the only thing that stopped him from capturing the championship was Shaq and Kobe. Shaq and Kobe had to stop him. He took out Big Dog Glenn Robinson, Sam Cassell, Ray Allen. He took out Vince Carter, okay? Remember that? He did do that. This is Allen Iverson that we're talking about here, okay? And all I'm saying to you is this. Ja Morant, Glenn Robinson could score.
Good player, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Give him credit with credit. Good. I understand that. But I was talking about their team, their crew, coached by George Karl. You remember that, all right? You've interviewed George Karl before. You interviewed Larry Brown before. You know, ask Larry Brown what Allen Iverson was. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Now, Ja Morant is a transcendent player, and I think that ultimately he can be that. But what I'm saying is the skill set, the fervor, his willingness to attack, he is very Allen Iverson-like, except bigger. He's bigger. So don't sit up there and try to throw shade on Allen Iverson. 6-foot guard, okay? 160 pounds soaking wet.
We
and
get
his
it.
brother going up against giants every day and doing know what he did? Have you lost your mind? Have you
come
lost
on.
your mind?
I know you covered him, but I mean, take it easy. I mean, my goodness. We understand
Hey, you talking about my little brother. You talking about my little brother here.
I get it. He's a hell of a player. We don't argue that. But you put him on these levels that are ridiculous. West was the MVP of an NBA Finals. For crying out loud. Iverson won one game.
Ask the superstars. Ask the superstars what level they put Allen Iverson on.
Well,
they played against them. Ask them.
Does that mean they're right?
Ask them. That doesn't mean they're right. That doesn't mean you're right. Why do you mean you're right? You're not right. I don't give a damn you and your dog. You and your dog pound. You and your dog pound. Y'all can try that all you want to. It'll work.
Steve, how many finals did he play in?
What?
One. How many games in the finals? How many games in the finals did he win? The one he played in?
One.
Against
Shaq and Kobe with Shaq in his prime.
How many conference finals did he play in? One. So we are going to put a guy who played in one NBA final and got annihilated by the Lakers. Granted, much better. And we're going to sit there and
come on. Hold on. So we're going to ignore the 48 he dropped in game one. We're going to ignore the 48 he dropped in game one. We're going to ignore how dominant Shaq was and how Shaq delivered that championship. Nobody on the planet could stop Shaquille O'Neal. Come on, doggy.
Well,
you can't do that.
Centers, Steve.
I mean, damn my God.
On the Sixers. I mean, every centers. You know, Wilt didn't play in that era. Shaq beat nobody. There was no Jason Collins for the Nets. There was no centers in the NBA in those days. You know that. You're better than that. You're better than that. You're better than that. But you want to put.
I'm saying Shaq couldn't be stopped.
This is what drives me crazy.
So now we disrespecting Shaq now. Now we disrespecting Shaq now. We're saying Shaq didn't have any competition.
You guys are putting these people on these ridiculous levels.
Shaq is up there. Allen Iverson is all of him, but Shaq is up there. Shaq is up there as the second most dominant big man in the history of basketball behind Wilt Chamberlain. Is that not true?
No, I named five centers. I named five centers right now.
Oh, my God.
I named five centers. Hold on now. You asked me a question. Can I talk? I named five centers right now who, if you're asking me if I take in a big spot and in a season, I take Malone, Olajuwon, Wilt, Kareem. Who's my fifth? I got Russell. I almost forgot. I might forget Bill Russell. I'm talking to you so much, I forget Russell. Russell, Kareem, Wilt, Olajuwon, Malone. Shaq is not as good as those guys.
Hold on.
Sorry.
I will stand down. First of all, you missed a couple. When you talk about conversations, you talk about Bill Russell, the ultimate champion, 11-time champions. You're talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all-time leading scorer, 19-time All-Star, 6 championships, 6 league MVPs. We get that, right? Hell, Olajuwon's got 2 chips. Bill Walton's got a couple of chips, even though the second one came with Boston with Bird and Parrish and all of those boys.
One, I forgot.
I am telling you right now, I said dominance. I wasn't talking about, oh, my goodness, he was better. He certainly wasn't a better free throw shooter, for example. There were times. Look, but the bottom line is this. When you talk about dominant big men, there's Wilt Chamberlain and there's Shaquille O'Neal. Who would refute that other than Doggy?
Steven,
who would refute that other than Doggy?
Give me some centers that the one time he played against Elijah when he got swept. Was he dominant in that series?
He's a 4-time champion.
He got swept.
Excuse me?
When he went against Elijah when he got swept. You forget that? He got swept.
I didn't forget it.
I'll tell you something else. I'm going to bother you some more.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to bother you some more.
I can't believe the other words coming out of your mouth.
This is before you were born. You were a little bouncing around Queens with your little nookie. This is before you were born. You know who was the best center that I ever saw play in a one season? And you're going to laugh. You're going to say you're nuts. I saw all the games. You know what the best one was? Walton. 76, 77 Trailblazers. Go look it up.
Yes. Hold on, wait a minute.
All the famous on his team.
Stop.
Davey Twardzik.
Stop.
Johnny Let me talk.
Let me spit.
Bobby Davis.
I did let you talk.
Gross,
I have been letting you talk.
Steele. Lucas. What? There was no Hall of Famers. Walton killed Kareem.
Stop it. Stop running your mouth. Stop running your mouth with your blasphemy.
Big spot I ever saw. How's that?
Time out. Let me say this to you because you didn't know I knew this. All right? You had Dr. J. You had McGinnis. You had all of those boys, and it wasn't enough. They were up 2-0, and then Bill Walton and Maurice Lucas and Lionel Hollins and the Portland Trailblazers came back and won 4 straight. I remember, damn it, okay? I'm not a fool. I watched those games because I was rooting for Dr. J, and it didn't happen. See, you thought you was the only one that knew that. I knew that too. And Bill Walton was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. I got it. But what I said to you was this. I'm talking about brute power, mass, strength, unstoppable in the low post. What a big man prototypically is supposed to be. The most dominant big man in the history of the game was Wilt Chamberlain. And number 2 was Shaquille O'Neal. Everybody knows that. He's a 4-time champion. Walton's got 2. Olajuwon's got 2. Okay, Moses Malone, he's got 1. He lost to Bird and them when he was in Houston. Twin Towers, him and Ralph Sampson. You remember that? But he lost, didn't he? The bottom line is this. He had to go to Philadelphia to win the chip. Let's not forget that. I respect the hell out of Moses Malone. God rest his soul. But when you talk about Shaquille O'Neal, Moses Malone was unstoppable in the low post, and he was a just devout rebounder. But he wasn't a great defensive player. And let me tell you something right now. Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, 1 and 2 in terms of dominance. And Allen Iverson, when you talk about Ja Morant is going to be everything you said because Allen Iverson preceded him. You respect the people who paved the way before you. Period. Allen Iverson, Shaquille O'Neal.
He's giving you a history lesson.
This is first take.
You respect your he's telling you to pay attention to your history.
You're better than that.
Yeah.
You're better. Go ahead.
No.
Hey, tell me to shut up. It's your turn.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I was just
didn't
enjoying the moment.
Molly, he didn't know I knew that.
Go look
He didn't
at
know I
the
knew that,
billboards
Molly.
at
He didn't know I knew that about Bill
Yeah,
Walton.
go look at the billboards.
Go watch Sullivan in 56.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Those billboards. Those
listen to
billboards
some
are coming
Elvis.
down. Ja Morant billboards are going up.
It's Wednesday, and that means somebody on this show is likely doing a list. Is it an A-list?
As far as this is usually Stephen A's list. We learned a couple weeks ago that the quarterback's a disaster. So instead, we have jumped in. We did the Hall of Fame, the top 5 teams last week in the NBA history. Steve hadn't seen any of them, but we did them anyway. All right, here's the list now. Obviously, LeBron is 2. Now, here's my top 5. It'll surprise you that this is based on my own eyes. Number 5, right here, is Pistol Pete Maravich. If you're going to laugh, averaged 44 a game in college, his senior year at LSU, and no three-point shooting in those days. They didn't count him in the NBA. Go look at those statistics from New Orleans. Go look at those statistics from the Atlanta Hawks. This guy averaged 31, 32 a game, shot 44, 45% from the field, scored 63 on Clyde one night against the Knicks. Frasier's told me on the air, Chris, there wasn't a person, God, couldn't have stopped Pistol that night. This is one of the all-time great ball handlers in the history of the league, who is a tremendous long-range shooter with no three-point shot. He would have averaged 50 a game in the backcourt if there was a three-point shot in his heyday in the 70s. He's number 5. It's not even debated. He's number 5. Number 4, this is easy enough at number 4 because the next 4 is Kobe. You have to put Kobe, 81 points, of course, against Toronto. This is an unbelievable assassin. This is a guy who loved scoring points. This is listen, nobody's going to argue with this. Kobe's the 4th greatest scorer in the history of the NBA. I don't care what the statistics say. I'm not interested. You get your basket, go to the free throw line, go to the hole, do everything great. He's number 4. Stevie, I think, would agree with that. Number 3. Now, you could switch this any way you want, the top 3. I'm going to put Wilt at 3. I understand he averaged 50 a game. I understand he scored 100 points against the Knicks in Hershey, PA in 1962. I know all about Wilt. I know all about his statistics, his passing, his rebounding, his dipsy-do. The only thing you don't like about Wilt, he can't make a free throw. That's the only thing I don't like about Wilt. Only 1 or 2 championships. That bothers me, too. This is no crime putting him number 3. People are going to say, Chris, how can you put him number 3? Average 50 points a game in a season. Frank McGuire, 62. I get it. I'll put him number 3. I'm putting Kareem number 2. He had an unstoppable, unblockable shot. That hook, sky hook, was unstoppable. He get it off anytime he wanted to get it off. And if you think I'm crazy, here's what I want you to do tonight. Go back and look at the 74 NBA final against Boston and go take a peek at Game 6 against the Celtics in overtime when he was a young player. Oscar was old. Chaney and JoJo White ran Oscar out of the league. Go watch Kareem's performance in that game. Go watch it. He's number 2, and he was a great free throw shooter. much better than people think. Remember those 2 free throws he made against Detroit, which won Game 7 in the NBA Final, the last championship he won.
Oh, will you get to number one?
Let me finish.
Get to number one. Get to number one. Oh, my God. Go ahead.
Who's one? Put him up there. You got it, baby. Michael J. He is number one. No debate. Nobody's going to argue. This is the greatest offensive machine in the history of the NBA. Score anytime he wanted to. 63 at the Boston Garden against Parrish, McHale, Walton, Bird, DJ, and Ainge. Now, I should have put Elgin Baylor on here. I had no place to put him. I considered that. Laugh all you want. I considered Bob Pettit. I can't put Bob Pettit on here. LeBron, we all know where LeBron is historically as an all-around player, and you can talk about Karl Malone until your cows come home. You can have him. I don't want him. I'm putting Jordan 1, Kareem 2, Wilt, Kobe, and you're going to laugh. Look it up. Right here, baby. Pistol at number 5. There's your list. Go ahead. Let me hear. Iverson's not on the list, by the way.
You started off your list.
Yeah.
Horrible. Get Pete Maravich the hell off of there, okay? 1970 to 1980. I don't care. Just stop it. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. It's good. Listen. Here's my whole point. First of all, I have no problem with, well, of course, I agree with Michael Jordan being number one. All right, Kareem and Wilt, you got to put them up there. Kareem's the all-time leading scorer. Wilt Chamberlain was unstoppable. So those 3 I'll give you. Kobe's actually debatable, but I'm not going to fight with him in the top 5 because I believe in the Black Mamba. I just want to say this to you, doggy. So Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God has ever created. He's a 90% career shooter from the free throw line, and he's a career 25-point-per-game scorer. And you talked about Pete Maravich being up there and what he would have been if there were a 3-point shot.
He would have
but we've
averaged
seen
50
what
a
Steph
game.
Curry is with his 3-point shot. Okay, with his 3-point shot, okay? So that's number one. We just going to leave LeBron, who's a career 27-point-per-game scorer, out of this. Just going to leave LeBron off there. Just going to leave him. That's what we're going to do, doggy. That's what we're going to do. And oh, by the way, last but not least.
People. You're making it sound like I gotta, Anthony Mason's not on the list. Look at these people here.
Exactly. Listen, I'm looking at them. That's why I said the top 4. Listen. Number 1 is not debatable. 2, 3, and 4 are legitimate. I'm just simply asking a question. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant may be the second great, at the end of his career, he may be the second greatest scorer we have ever seen in the history of basketball. I'm talking about the eye test. I'm not talking about numbers. What he can do, he's a career 27-point-per-game scorer, like LeBron. He is a marksman extraordinaire. He is 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan. He's got a mid-range game. He's got a three-point game. He's got an open court game. He's got a handle. He can hit free throws. What can't Kevin Durant do offensively? How do you sit up there and put a Pete Maravich above him? I would tell you as a scorer, I'd actually put him ahead of Kobe.
Not bad on Durant. I love him too. But we got a little homework assignment for you. 56 Sullivan with Elvis. When you go back to your suite, you got an hour or two before the NBA countdown. And then I want you to go back and I want you to take any game out you want. 73, 75, the New Orleans, Atlanta, any game you want. But find the game against Clyde and that great Knick team. And find the game that Pistol had 63. And when you're doing that,
you're talking about a moment.
When you're doing that, average 31 a game. Now, come on, stop. When you're doing that, I want you to count how many three-point shots he
averaged over 34 times. You discounted that? He averaged over 31 in 10. Allen Iverson averaged over 34 times, and you dismissed it.
Can we lay low on Iverson? You like him. We have figured that out. Can we take it easy?
All right, gentlemen.
That's my little brother right there. You done lost your mind.
Breaking news coming up next in the NFL regarding a major superstar We will give you that news and all the reaction in just a moment. First take. I'll be right back. You did a good job.
Something
Doug.
wrong with Doggy.
Good job. Good job.
Something wrong with Doggy. Something wrong with you.
Running out of the NFL, Adam Schefter tweeting this. The Jets and Dolphins in serious talks to trade for Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill, per league sources. Hill and the Chiefs are mulling what to do. But Hill's time in KC looks like it could be coming to an end. Stephen A., thoughts on this?
Couple of things that I want to say. Number one, if Tyreek Hill leaves the Chiefs, you can scratch them as a Super Bowl contender. I don't give a damn what anybody says. The Cheetah is something special, and he deserves his money from that team. Just look at his play against Buffalo. That last touchdown when he caught a pass over the middle and scampered down the right sideline, waving goodbye to defenders as Buffalo looked utterly helpless, okay? This brother is something special. The only person that I find more valuable on the Chiefs offense than him is Mahomes and Kelsey. Nobody else comes close. That's number one. Number two, to Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, don't you even think about going to the Jets or the Dolphins, okay? I'm sorry, don't you even think about it. You don't want to get contaminated by the Jets organization. They need to prove a lot more before they deserve the services the likes of you. Okay? They need to make sure their quarterback can throw. They need to make sure they got a head coach that knows something about the offensive side of the ball, because it clearly didn't look like that last year. There's no way in hell he should want to be in New York from a football perspective. From a marketing perspective, he'd make gobs and gobs of money that way. But from a football perspective, hell no. And last but not least, you don't want to end up with the Dolphins, because Tua Tagovailoa hasn't proven that he can coach, that he can quarterback on the NFL level. So the bottom line is, if you don't have somebody that can throw you the football, you're going to be humbled real quick. You have been spoiled playing with Patrick Mahomes. You go from that to the quarterbacks they've got in New York or Miami, respectively. You want to know what misery looks like? You're about to find out if you make one of those choices. I can promise you that. So that's the message I would send to Tyreek Hill. But in the end, the Kansas City Chiefs, there's no way in hell you should lose this man. You need to find every way you can to keep Tyreek Hill, the cheater, in Kansas City, because he is that electrifying, and you don't find dudes like him every day. He is a generational talent from the wide receiver standpoint. Absolutely.
It is quite the departure to potentially go from the Chiefs to the Dolphins or the Jets.
I generally agree with Steve. The one thing I would say here, it's a little bit like Davante Adams. If you're Tyreek Hill and you want to be paid like Davante Adams, all right, I get it. Business decision, football, short career. Why would you leave Mahomes to go play for Tua? Take less money, stay in Kansas City, and play in big games. Because the Zach Wilson kid might be good for the Jets, so I don't want to kill them yet because he's got a lot of ability. But if you're Tyreek Hill,
he might be.
He might be. Yeah. Why would you leave Kelsey? Why would you leave Juju Schuster, who they just signed, and Andy Reid, who's a big coach, great coach offensively? Yeah. Why would you decide to leave those, and the quarterback, who's young and great? Why would you decide to leave them to go play with Miami for Tua for a couple of dollars?
It's not because they're going to pay him. It's not a football decision. Clearly, it's the money or the city.
Whoa. I don't support him going to New York or Miami either. But what do you mean for a couple of dollars?
Well, we don't know what the Chiefs are going to pay him, Steve.
You're a businessman. You know what? I mean, listen. Excuse me. They're not paying him close to what New York or Miami might pay him. Doggy's a businessman. Doggy makes big-time business decisions. You ain't broke. What are you talking about? A couple of dollars. Well, you better stop that drivel. You better stop that right now. That's a lot of money we're talking about here now.
How about winning championships?
It's because you got the money. You got. It's good. I know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I'm about the championships. You have a channel.
He's not winning in Miami with Tua. He's not winning a championship with Tua.
And he's not going to win it in New York either. He's trying to get paid.
Stephen A., you're also the one that's obsessed with locations. Maybe he wants to be in Miami or New York City. Maybe he's done with Kansas City and he's going to make more money, and it's a lifestyle decision.
Hold it. I am not throwing any shade on the location that is South Beach. Not at all. I'm simply pointing out that the bottom line is he wants his money. I just don't think that's the place to go to get it, because he ain't going to win in those two places.
Well, that's the point.
You want to have a chance to win while you get an exorbitant. Wait a minute. Davante Adams He went from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr. But the Las Vegas Raiders have a chance. You see what I'm saying? That's entirely different. Now, some would say Miami, but as far as I'm concerned, with Brian Flores gone, okay, with that cesspool up there, down there in their South Beach, with your quarterback situation being the way that it is, you as an organization passing on the opportunity to draft Justin Herbert. Remember, Miami had the 5th pick. The Chargers had the 6th. They picked Tua. Chargers had Justin Herbert. If Justin Herbert was in Miami, we'd be singing a different tune about the Miami Dolphins. And I tell you one thing, we wouldn't be automatically assuming that the Buffalo Bills are going to win a division, and Brian Flores wouldn't have been out of a job suing the Miami Dolphins because Stephen Ross and them wouldn't have had any issues. They'd have been in Miami winning some damn football games, and they'd have been in the playoffs.
100%. When you go by, I agree with you on that. When you look at Tyreek's history 20 years from now, what are you going to remember? Well, how much money he made? No. You are going to remember 3rd and 15.
Oh, would you stop with the memories? Would you stop with the memories?
3rd and 15. I love you. 3rd and 15 against San Francisco, which fueled their comeback in the Super Bowl. That's what you're going to remember. That play. That sequence. He goes to Miami. I don't care how much money he gets paid. He goes to the Jets. That's not going to happen. He's going to get his money. He's going to get money. I mean, what is that? What, $50 million instead of $40 million? Why would you sit there and give up this quarterback and that coach with that franchise when they're in a championship game every year to go sit there with a quarterback who can't get the ball to you and Tua or Wilson who nobody knows if he's any good yet? Why would you leave for an extra couple of dollars? Why? That doesn't make any sense. The idea is to win.
First of all, stop saying an extra couple of dollars. Stop it. Stop it. That's a hell of a lot more than an extra couple of dollars. That's number one. Number two, last time I checked, the AFC West was looking pretty damn tough these days with the Chargers, with Denver, with the Las Vegas Raiders. It ain't going to be a cakewalk. And number three, I remember this big-time show called Mike and the Mad Dog. It was an institution. It started Sports Talk Radio. Time out. It was doing its thing, okay? Well, you know something? Mad Dog left. And why? But they got his own damn channel. And I'm sure that wasn't for an extra few bucks, okay? So guess what? You made a business decision. What's wrong with Tyreek Hill doing that? You got to be kidding me, man. Oh, please. Talk about hypocrisy. Stop it.
Championships.
Hey, that's right.
I was there 19 years.
They give him his money.
They have been there for 19 years.
Give him his money.
Couple of dollars.
Hold on. He's been here. He's been 1, 2, 3, 4.
You know the wear and tear on his body is about 2 words.
He's been there 6 years.
Guaranteed money. Guaranteed.
Steve loves the money.
Molly,
can't get enough of this money.
Molly,
you're an NFL player. Nothing's guaranteed. You need that guaranteed money.
Oh,
NFL players.
Both of you.
6 years.
Goodness.
6 years. 6 years in NFL. 6. Hold on. 6 years. He has won. He's a Super Bowl champion. 6 years in an NFL city is tantamount to 19 years at a radio station. And he's not a Super Bowl championship. Yes, it is. And 2 years. Yes.
No, that math is better.
Yeah, come on, you're better than that.
With you, Stephen A. 6 to 19. Come on. At least give me 10. All right, still ahead on First Take.
Hey, Francesa did have to talk it.
Oh, you're unbelievable. We problem for the Sixers who took down the Heat on Monday night. Tyrese Maxey held it down for the Sixers while both Joel Embiid and James Harden rested. Doc Rivers says that the Sixers were just being careful by not starting the two. Embiid, who has made playing regularly a priority this season, has never played more than 64 games in a season, while Harden has missed time this season with a hamstring injury but has played 11 out of 17 games since joining Philly. Mad Dog, do you have an issue with Doc resting Harden and Embiid? Absolutely. This load management's a joke. I mean, the regular season, and they're fighting for some positioning as far as home court is concerned. This load, we're going to hurt the quality of and the credibility of the regular season by sitting these two guys out because you got to give them a little break. Jordan didn't, when Sacramento played the Bulls on a January night in 1992, and he had won championships, and it's 2 degrees outside, Jordan played the game. Bird played 81 games a year, bad back, concussions, the whole 9 yards. Magic played. Kareem played 82 games every year. Wilt played every minute of every game every year. And these guys are playing 50, 60 games a year, and they're going to take a blow? I mean, how about the fans who spend a fortune to go to the games?
And they want to buy, you know what, Philly's in town tonight. I want to see Embiid play. I'll buy the ticket. And he's not playing in the game. I have a major problem with it, and I personally think it really hurts the credibility of the regular season. What are you telling us? Yeah. You're telling us the game doesn't mean anything. You know, tonight we don't care if we win or lose. I'm not going to play Embiid, and I'm not going to play Harden. I hate it. I think that's a major problem. I think the commissioner should step up long time ago and do something about it. You can't have your stars not playing the games with the chart, with the ticket prices, ratings, and the fact that they're playing for something. This is not game 81 when everything is settled. They're still playing for home court. Oh, it drives me crazy. I can't stand it. Drives me crazy.
Stephen A?
Doggy, we don't disagree, man. On a very, very serious level, we don't. Because I think that it is a problem. I think the commissioner and the league owners need to intervene. And I have never been one. I just called it down the middle and reported what I was seeing. But I didn't take sides with collective bargaining negotiations. If collective bargaining negotiations were to begin today, I would side with the owners. You have missed games. Seasons have been compromised because of COVID. And then you have a situation where you look at Ben Simmons and what was going on with him. You look at Kyrie Irving and what is going on with him. It's egregious. It's egregious. And even though the vast majority of players don't engage in those things, the reality of the situation is that it is an incredibly bad look. And one of the things that's important to point out, Doggy, and I know this for a fact, a lot of times players are getting blamed for stuff that trainers and team doctors enforced. Because at the behest of executives within the teams, what happened is to protect themselves, looking forward to the playoffs and to protect the investment that they have made in a particular player, I have been told that there have been many situations where a player wants to play and owners and team trainers and team executives collaborate to keep them sitting down and not allowing them to play. Either way you slice it, it's a problem. But Kyrie and Ben Simmons, nobody is really taking into account the damage that the positions that they have taken have done to the game as it pertains to the players. Because you're not going to get any sympathy from the public when you go to the collective bargaining table and they bring up Kyrie and they bring up Ben Simmons and what was transpiring in Philly. I'm not talking about his back injury now in Brooklyn. I'm talking about a whole mental health issue and all that stuff. You're not going to get anybody to be sympathetic to all of that when it comes to Ben Simmons, and you're certainly not going to get anybody to be sympathetic when it comes to Kyrie Irving, okay? And so as a result of that, I do get where you're coming from. Here's my point. I'm not that big against it as it pertains to what happened the other night with Embiid and Harden. Embiid has played 58 games this year. For the most part, he's been there. Harden usually does not miss games. This is not a guy that wants to miss games, okay? And so when I look at that and the way that the Philadelphia 76ers had been struggling because they traded away half their damn team and questions of depth came into the equation, the fact that they went on the court against Miami the other night without Embiid and Harden and beat the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, I think is something that benefited Tobias Harris. I think it's something that benefited Tyrese Maxey and Thibault and the rest of those guys, and I think it's going to be helpful. Overall, I'm with you on your point, 1,000%. But as it strictly pertains to what happened with Harden and Embiid the other night, I understood where they were coming from. Both of them tweaked stuff a little bit. They weren't themselves, and they're about to make a stretch run. And in Harden's case, he doesn't miss games. And in Embiid's case, he's been perpetually injury-prone. So you do have to be overly concerned about any little thing that happens to him, and they still won the game.
Fair. And, you know, Popovich used to do this all the time, and he won the games, too, and he rested Duncan and Ginobili and Parker. I'm all for that. I don't want to kill. This is really not about Harden, and it's not about Embiid, because you're right on both counts. Embiid's been injured a lot, and Harden plays. I buy that. It's the theory that we are going to treat the NBA regular season as sort of an exhibition run. Yeah. We're playoff 55 games, and that's the end of it. And here's the problem. The stars in the league know that home court doesn't mean anything. Durant knows that he can win a game 7 on the road. The old days, the home court meant everything. Nowadays, these guys know they're so good that they can win a game 7 in Memphis. They can win a game 7 anywhere. They're that good. They can win a Game 7 in Milwaukee. So they say, you know what? I'm not that wrapped up on a home court. I'm not wrapped up on sitting. Just
not
get
even
me
about
into the
that good.
playoffs and I'll be okay. But it's a terrible. How am I supposed to get all wrapped up on the NBA regular season when half the stars only play 55, 60 games? I think it's a major.
It's not even about that.
Go ahead.
It's not even about. It's about them not showing that it's about them at times acting as if they're nonchalant about it. See,
That's what it's about.
Michael Jordan knew he was the marquee. Kobe knew he was the marquee. LeBron knows he's the marquee. Steph Curry knows he's a marquee. So they take it seriously. They embrace the ambassadorship that they hold within the game, and they do what they can to uplift the sport. We got too many guys today that don't care about that.
100%.
That's the real problem.
100%. I agree with you 1,000%. He's right on. It drives me crazy. And the fans get mad.
Of course,
Spend a fortune on these games, and the guys don't play.
A lot of money.
Come on, it's not fair.
Of course.
That's not what you do. I'm sorry. I talked long enough.
No, you were great. Stephen A.